Hello, it's Monday morning. I'll show you what's been going on. We'll say we had a day here yesterday working on the Caravan, so I'll show you that. You can see in the background the L322's there. I've sold the tailgate off it to my neighbour who's got one that's completely rotten. I'll insert a photo here. So I'm just going to get this in the barn because obviously now it's not got a tailgate on it, it's going to get wet. So I'm going to put it on the trailer just to store it indoors for now. So I'm going to get that done. So there we are, tailgate is removed. Once he's removed his one and put my one on, he's going to give me the old one back, so at least I can seal that back up. So onto the Caravan. Now I have a big hole in the side, well, an extra hole in the side. These two holes were never sorted out because I was waiting where that hole would go. So that was where the old gas heater vent was, and that I can't remember. So obviously they were just screwed and taped up for now until we knew exactly where that hole was going. So as you can probably guess from what that is, we have the start of the bathroom. So obviously that hole is for the cassette toilet. We've got the shower tray in there, all needs a damn good clean, but we've got our walls up. But we took forever deciding where that was going to go to give us room either side, but we missed one thing. It goes right over the skylight. Now, I need a skylight in the toilet for a vent, obviously, for steam and moisture. So I think that one's going to have to come out, be sealed up from the outside and filled in on the inside, and then repositioned in there. What a pain. Look, it was only a couple of inches. I mean, we could have angled this outside wall in slightly to clear it, but, you know, never mind. Right, so what I've got to do is get a door, and then once we've got a door to go sort of here, we can then build the rest of the walls. So I'm now trying to find a door. So it's all getting there. It is coming along slowly. But next week I am going to have to be in here and get on with it because we're going away in 2 weeks. So I need to get quite a bit done in here next week. Also this week, yesterday I got the Saab logbook through. So that is now going to be prepared for sale. I've just got to sort that speedo needle out, and there's a bit of trim loose inside, and probably service it. And I've got my friend's Discovery here with a fuel leak, and it was advised for a rear oil seal on the MOT, so we've got to do that as well. So in a minute I need to pull that in, see if I can find where the leak is. I think it's going to be the fuel pressure regulator or the fuel cooler. He said it's on the driver's side engine at the back, which is where they all are, so we'll get the cover off and have a look, see if we can find the leak. And then we need to order the bits. So first things first is to get that in the workshop. Well, I think we're in the right location because that is manky. So I'm going to run it up now and see if I can see any obvious drips other than myself. Right, just pulled that disco in, and as you could see, it's leaking from the fuel pressure regulator, so I've got to get one of them ordered up. Also the rear hub seal's leaking. The wheel bearing seems fine, so it's just a simple £1 O-ring. So I'll just check with the customer whether he wants to put a new wheel bearing on while we're there, or whether just to put the seal on. Right, so, well, the dash has just come back from paint, looking splendid. So he said just give it tonight before we do anything with it, because it's still just sort of tacky. Well, he said still a little bit tacky, so he said just leave it overnight. So that can stay there for now. Yeah, excellent. Oh, now trying to hammer this out. It is moving slowly. Really should probably take this out of the arms. I've cut the ears off because then you really should lay that over a vise and hit it, but I know I'm catching that, but it's not the end of the world. I just don't want to have to undo these and break them, and they get seized. It can be a nightmare. So I'm hitting it most of the time and it's coming out, so we should be all right. And there she is. She's out. Now to get the new one in. Whew, bit Heath Robinson, but the new one's in. Resting it on the vise, resting it on the jack stands or transmission jack, and giving it a whack. Bit of grease. I say a bit of a whack, I'm out of bloody breath, so quite a lot of wax, but it's in. So let's bolt it up and get it on the chassis. Okay, so the arm is back on, albeit with temporary bolts in the chassis at the moment, but the castle nuts all done up and split pinned, so I'm just waiting for some nuts and bolts to come along. So next job, I need to bolt these arms on, therefore the body to bolt to, they need to go on, and then we're still waiting to decide what to do with the engine. I've got to run all new brake lines, because actually I've noticed, I don't know why I didn't notice before, but they've got no calipers on, so I need to sort that out. I need to run brake lines, but again, we need to know what is happening with this engine. I need to, well, I've suggested either replacing it with a good running 300 TDI, so then all we've got to do is unbolt this and bolt the other one on. We can sell this on as a project, in which case it'll take no time at all. Or if he wants me to try and get this one running, we've got to get bits that are missing, we've got to bolt bits on, it's all time. So it really does depend, it's entirely up to him, but you know, we need to get cracking on this. Right, I've tried the cover on. It doesn't fit too well, I've got to be honest. We had these wires in the way. I had them underneath that, behind there, tucked up. Obviously we can't really have them here because that's where the turbo is, so we might have to rethink that. This side, the dipstick comes through. These are all a bit tight, but we might be able to just make them work if we want to run the cover. But the reason for me trying it on is so I can lower the bonnet for the first time, because I've still no idea if the bonnet closes. So I'm going to try that. Right, it doesn't shut because the header tank's too high. So I've got to lower that some more now. Oh, joy. Right, at that height, it is well under the lip of the bonnet. The thing that's causing the problem now is that bonnet strengthener. Now, if I put a picture of a TD5 inside bonnet here, you'll see it is a completely different shape to this bonnet. So, I don't want to go much further down than that to clear this bonnet, because obviously you want this at the highest point you can. So I think what I'm going to do for now is chop this strengthener out, and then the lid won't hit that. Now, I'm looking to get a TDCI bonnet anyway with the hump in it, so I'm not too worried about this bonnet in all fairness, but I think I might have to just do that to clear this tank. As I say, I don't want to go down any more than this really. Also, it looks like the sound deadener is being caught by this bit in the middle as well, so I think that's why the TDCI and TD5 are obviously shaped like that, to miss this. So I think we're going to have to take off the cover for now and chop that off. So let's chop that off first and make sure this fits in this position, because we're going to have to remake this bracket, because where I've chopped it down, it's not working right. So let's chop this off and see how we sit. Right, so now it looks like we have quite a lot of clearance, but I am yet to actually properly shut the bonnet. So it's going to be hard to tell once the bonnet's shut. But what I'll probably do is put a bit of paint on the top of the lid, then close the bonnet, and then I can see if it's touched. So that's the plan at the minute. Right, so I've made the new bracket, and with this off you can still see under there. It's probably a bit awkward to see, but you can see the tank there. I don't know if I'll be able to show you and film, but I can get my fingers in there and I can wobble the tank about so it's not touching the bonnet. So we'll go with that bracket, I reckon. Right, well that's that painted and drying, so we'll leave that for the morning. So we are pretty much there. We should be able to close the bonnet and not have a problem. I'm going to reroute those wires and stuff while it's all out, and work that out, and then see whether we can actually get the cover on or not. I'm not so sure with this bonnet. We probably will with a Puma bonnet, but not at the moment. So right, next job. Right, well that's the bracket all painted and bolted back on, and the header tank put back on. Oh, I've just got to do that clip up. I've just noticed it through the camera. So right, let's get on with this bloody dashboard. It needs to be done. I need to take a Brave pill and get it in there without scratching it. We're getting there. Slowly the dash is going in. Yeah. not a bad colour match really. So now it's time to try and make it look like a normal car if I can, if that's at all possible. Managed to get the stalks in there solid. I couldn't get them in there very well before, but they're done now. So now it's just a matter of going through and sorting out the face plates and painting them ready to go in. So that's the next job. Right, Friday morning now. Few jobs to do today. Tonight is the Southend Cruise. Anyone who used to go there back in the day will know it was a pretty awesome time. Late 90s, early 2000s. There's a big one planned for tonight. Hopefully it doesn't get the pop bang idiots there and get shut down, but the group I'm in, there's a lot of 30s, 40s, you know, like me basically, who used to go back in the day. So hopefully it'll be a calm, cool event. So we're going to head down there. I'm going in the Saab. I haven't really got anything old school on the road. The only old school thing is the MG, but being an MG and traffic, you could guess why I'm a little bit worried. So I'm going to just take the Saab. So today I'm going to service the Saab. It needs to be done anyway, ready for sale. And I've also gone to tax it, and it's cheap. It's £200 a year. Now, that's still a lot of money, but when you compare it to the Jag, that's nearly £400 a year. And even this is nearly £300 a year. It's quite cheap. So I'm going to tax it so I can go down to Southend without worrying. So let's get the workshop cleared out, get the Saab on the ramp and begin our service. The bits are on the way. Also, I need to do the rear hub seal on that Discovery. The fuel regulator hasn't arrived yet. So part of me thinks, should I wait and do the whole lot at once, or do I just pull the rear hubs, pull it in and just do the rear hub seal now, which I think I'll probably do once the Saab's done. And then that's one job ticked off the list. Also, I've got some bits painted for the Defender, the beginning of that, so I'll show you those bits in a minute. So right, let's get the Jag out and get the Saab in. Also, I'm having EGR issues on the Jag. It's bringing up restricted performance and EGR codes. Having replacement EGRs is near on 500 quid, or you can buy blanking plates for a £5, have it mapped out and a remap for 200 quid. So you can guess what I'm going to have done. Right, get the cars moved. Right, so got the Discovery in to do the hub seal, so got the wheel off. Next thing is to undo the big hub nut. So you've got to just tap out the bit that you tap in to stop it from turning. You've got to tap that out, obviously undo it. Then we'll undo the disc, undo the caliper, pull that off, have the disc guard off, this bit. That all needs a good clean because it's covered in oil. And then we can get the hub off. So, yeah, so this big nut first, undo the screw and the disc, because obviously I changed the discs the other week, so that will just come off, that'll be fine. Caliper is 2 multi-splines, and then these I think are either 8s or 10s, but I'll show you when I get down that far. Right, so the disc guard is off, 3 8mm. I need to give that a good clean and probably a grind down the paint before it goes back on. And then the hub is just these 4 bolts all the way around it, and then this hub will come off. Right, I've got it out. I've cleaned most of it up. I've got to give it a little bit more yet, but it's nice to see it's got an original Timken bearing in. The bearing was fine when I had a wobble of it, so we're just going to put a new seal on, which goes around there. Clean all this up in here just to make sure, clean the face off and get it bolted back on. And then we need to clean up that disc guard because that's disgusting. And then hopefully we shouldn't have any more leaks. And then obviously once it's all back together, we need to check the fluid level, see how much we've actually lost. Right, just as a little, obviously I haven't put them in properly yet because I've still got wires hanging out and switches missing, and I haven't done the rest of them yet. But what do we think of that? Should I just go with black, or do we think orange and blue works? Obviously orange is my colour. The brakes are orange, the suspension components are orange. Can you imagine the other two with all the switches in orange as well? What do you think they'll look like? I'm undecided. I thought I'd do 2 at the minute because I think I might redo the middle ones anyway. I'm not overly happy with the switch fitment. I think I cut some of them a bit too big, so I might just do it again, cut them small and just file them out till they're right. Otherwise, I think I'll just get annoyed with them flapping about. So yes, so what do we think? Orange and blue, does it work? You tell me. And just so you can see it from this side as well. Obviously we're going to have the dash top on here as well, so that'll be, you know, black half the way down. Don't know. What do you think? Right, we are back on. We have topped up the git axle. It needed about 1 litre, so obviously it leaked quite a bit out. But yeah, that's the back plate. It's all cleaned up and primered, a zinc primer. Haven't got any paint, but a few layers of the zinc primer should do it proud. So now we need to get on with the fuel regulator when that turns up. Morning, it's Saturday, the morning after the night before. So we had Southend last night, the mega retro meet, reviving Southend seafront after 20 odd years. And I've got to say, what a night. Even driving off the 127 into Southend, and just the memories come flooding back of driving down there. And obviously we went with a bit of anticipation, a bit of not very high hopes that the police would shut it down straight away and not many people would turn up. But as soon as we got to the roundabout near the Kersal, wow, queues and queues of traffic. When we got onto the seafront, the amount of cars parked everywhere, all the way down past the casino. Fantastic. Proper old school, proper memories, how it always used to be. I feel sorry for the modern day people who never got to experience it. But yeah, what an evening. Cozzies, Renault 5 Turbos, Novas, Astras, you know, Cortinas, Cavaliers, everything that was there in the late 90s, early thousands. So I'm going to make a video to go, like a separate video, just of some bits I took. I don't know whether this clip of me talking now will be on my weekly one or whether it will be the beginning of the other one, but anyway, I'm just doing this video. It was a fantastic night. I went down in Saab just because my first thought was a bit of a queue car, so if the police were going crazy, I could just sort of go in under the radar. But as it turns out, they left us alone. They obviously circled and made sure nothing silly was going on, but when it come to 11 o'clock they shut it down, which is fair enough. Noise and all that malarkey, the residents absolutely get that. I went in my LSC jumper, my Nike Air Max Classics, and an MA1 Love Dove Generation jacket, just for the hell of it. So yeah, fantastic night. So yeah, I'll show you some clips either on this video or another video. And yeah, what a night. Right, Saturday morning, the fuel pressure regulator turned up yesterday afternoon, Friday. I've got a really busy week next week. The customer kind of wants this back as soon as possible, so I've come in Saturday morning to crack on with the fuel pressure regulator. So it is that beauty down there that's covered in diesel. We've got to get that out. So first things first, we've got to try and get that engine hook out, and then yeah, disconnect pipes and connectors and see if we can get it unbolted. So that is the first job. Okay, this has turned into quite a bit more. Change fuel pressure regulator, that's fine. Normally this pipe that runs along here, you can see this one here off the top of the regulator. All the ones I've done before, never change that because you don't need to, it's just a pressure regulator. But obviously I've put the regulator on, started this one up, and this one is spurting out of the union down there. You can just see it where the rubber meets the pipe. So I'm now wondering whether that was what the leak was all along, and it was a little leak and it was running down the pipe and dripping down the back of the engine, making it look like the fuel pressure regulator. Now, to get to this pipe, it is buried behind there. You can see the pipe with the green bit curving round and going up behind there. I've taken the EGR off to see if I can get to it, and you just can't get anything on there. So there's no other thing for it. Inlet manifold's got to come off. So I've got to disconnect the fuel cooler because that's bolted to the inlet manifold and the pipes. So you can get a ratchet, a bar in to get to the manifold bolt. So more of a bloody job than I was hoping, and especially for a Saturday, but never mind. Let's just get on with it. I was getting fed up with not being able to see. So bonnet's off, I can now see everything. And it's out. What a mission. What a mission. Just to change one bloody pipe. But we're there. So with the fuel cooler unbolted, you can get to all the manifold bolts. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just awkward, isn't it? Just to change this one bloody pipe, it is awkward. But we're here now. So I've got to order an inlet manifold gasket on Monday. I'm going to change the pipe now just because it's here. And then that'll be it for the weekend. There we go. New pipe's on. You probably can't see it. You might just be able to see the new gold bit just about there. I'm going home now because I can't get a manifold gasket till Monday. So have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da.